Welcome back to Firepower, the channel where history, firepower, and hard truth collide. What if I told you that a pistol buried in your closet, the one forgotten in a safe for decades, could now be worth more than gold? This isn't hype, it's reality. Legendary sidearms once carried through the chaos of war, trusted by lawmen on the streets or immortalized on the silver screen, are now skyrocketing in value. What was once a weapon is now a hidden fortune, and the collector's market is hotter than ever. Today we've reshuffled the legends, uncovered new heavyweights, and saved a shocking number one for the very end. Stay with us. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Firepower for more hard-hitting breakdowns and collector insights. 9 pistols, 10 legendary names, and a collective market value that has outpaced gold. This isn't a countdown of the best shooters. This is the ultimate collector's report on the vintage handguns that are skyrocketing in value, turning old steel into investment-grade assets. From the Luger that armed an empire to the Colt that won the West. We're talking about masterpieces of engineering, war trophies, and Hollywood icons that routinely sell for 5 figures. What fuels this demand isn't just history. It's a perfect storm of scarcity, provenance, and pop culture. Stay tuned, because we're breaking down the specs, the collectible features, and the exact reasons why a piece of steel with a story can outperform bullion. Number 1. The Browning High Power stormed onto the scene in 1935 and immediately rewrote the rulebook for service pistols. At a time when most handguns carried 7 or 8 rounds, this sleek 9mm offered a 13-round magazine, setting a new global standard. Designed by John Browning and finished by F.N.'s Dieudonné Sive, it became one of the most widely issued sidearms in history. Over 50 nations carried it, from World War II to Cold War conflicts, making it one of the most battle-tested pistols ever built. Today, collectors chase the early Belgian-made variants, especially those with tangent sights or wartime contracts. Clean originals fetch over $2,000, and rarer versions climb higher every year. What fuels demand isn't just history. It's the way it feels in the hand. Its balance and natural point of aim still rival modern designs. Owning a pristine high power isn't just owning a pistol. It's holding the DNA of nearly every double-stack 9mm that came after. Second, few pistols are as instantly recognizable as the German Luger P08. Adopted in 1908, it didn't just arm an army. It introduced the 9mm parabellum cartridge, which became the global handgun standard. Its toggle lock action looked futuristic then and still fascinates collectors now. German officers carried it through both world wars, and countless American GUIs brought them home as trophies, giving surviving examples powerful provenance. The grip angle and ergonomics were ahead of their time, pointing naturally in the hand even by today's standards. Collectors chase early DWM and Erfurt models, rare Navy or artillery versions, and of course, bringbacks with matching numbers. Prices vary wildly, from $2,000 for a standard issue up to 5 figures for rarities with documented history. The Luger isn't just a gun, it's a cultural icon, immortalized in movies, games, and books. Each one represents both German engineering and a slice of 20th century power that collectors pay dearly to own. Number 3. When America entered World War II, millions of servicemen carried the Colt 1911 A1 on their hips. Chambered in .45 ACP, it was a sidearm forged for mud, sand, and blood. A weapon that embodied American grit. The A1 refinements included a shorter trigger, an arched mainspring housing, simplifying production without compromising performance. Multiple Manufacturers turned them out by the hundreds of thousands, but each pistol carried the same reputation: reliable, powerful, and life-saving in close combat. For collectors, originality is everything. Wartime production pistols with crisp military markings, whether from Colt, Remington Rand, or Ithaca, command thousands today. Pristine examples with full provenance push into the $10,000 to $12,000 range. The 1911 A1 isn't just steel and wood. It's a symbol of freedom carried into Europe and the Pacific. Holding one is like holding a piece of victory itself, and that emotional weight keeps values climbing year after year. The Astra 400 may not have the elegance of a Browning or the fame of a Luger, but this Spanish sidearm earned its place through rugged reliability. Introduced in 1921, chambered in 9mm Largo, it fought in the Spanish Civil War, both world wars, and even saw use by German and American troops who captured or brought them home. Its straight blowback design made it heavy, but nearly indestructible. Soldiers swore it would fire almost any 9mm size cartridge you fed it, a priceless trait in wartime chaos. That workhorse durability is exactly why collectors are turning to it now. Once considered a surplus oddity, clean examples with Spanish military markings are surging in value. A pistol that sold for a few $100s now easily commands over $1,000, with rarer contracts fetching more. The Astra 400 may not be polished, but it represents the no-nonsense toughness of 20th century combat, and scarcity is driving it into the spotlight. Launched in 1955, the Colt Python was more than a revolver. It was the Rolls-Royce of wheel guns. Every part was hand-fitted, the action polished like glass, and the royal blue finish shimmered nearly black under certain light. Chambered in .30-57 Magnum, it combined raw power with unmatched refinement. Lawmen and detectives who could afford it carried it as a status symbol, while competitive shooters praised its accuracy. Hollywood elevated it into legend, with appearances across countless movies cementing its reputation as the ultimate revolver. Demand skyrocketed in the 1970s and 80s, pushing prices out of reach for average shooters. Today, early models with deep blue finishes or rare barrel lengths command $5,000 to $8,000, sometimes more at auction. Even Colt's modern reissues haven't slowed demand. They've only highlighted how special the originals are. The Python is more than a gun. It's an investment-grade masterpiece of American craftsmanship. Number 6. When Smith and Wesson released the Model 29 in 1955, it instantly earned a crown, the most powerful production handgun in the world. Chambered in .44 Magnum on the massive in-frame, it could stop a bear or punch through car doors with authority. On its own, it might have stayed a niche hunting revolver, but Hollywood changed everything. Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry films turned it into a cultural icon overnight. Demand exploded, supply evaporated, and prices soared. Today, collectors seek the early 4-inch and 6.5-inch versions with pinned barrels and recessed cylinders. What once cost a few $100s now fetches thousands. A mint Dirty Harry era Model 29 can bring well over $4,000, with rare variants climbing higher. Beyond the pop culture fame, it remains beautifully built. Deep blue finish, smooth trigger, and raw power. The Model 29 is both a Hollywood legend and a tangible piece of American firearms history. Number 7. Compact, elegant, and instantly recognizable, the Walther PPK has been casting shadows since 1931. Chambered in .32 ACP or .30-80, it was designed for concealed carry long before the term existed. German officers favored it in World War II, and many came home with Allied troops as war trophies. But its true leap into legend came not from the battlefield, but the silver screen. James Bond carried the PPK in every early film, making it one of the most famous pistols on Earth. Collectors now prize wartime production models with original markings, while post-war French and American-made versions also command respect. Prices range from $1,200 to $3,000, with rare presentation models going higher. The PPK isn't about brute force. It's about style, concealability, and history. No modern carry gun can match its cultural footprint. Holding one is holding both a German sidearm and a piece of Hollywood cool. Number 8. Introduced in 1949 for the Swiss military, the Sig P210 quickly earned a reputation as one of the most accurate service pistols ever built. Precision-machined parts, tight tolerances, and a solid steel frame gave it the feel of a competition gun disguised as a duty sidearm. Its single-action trigger is legendary. Crisp, predictable, and capable of transforming average shooters into marksmen. Used by Swiss, Danish, and German forces, the P210 proved it was as tough as it was precise. For collectors, scarcity drives value. Swiss-made originals with military markings are especially prized, often selling for $5,000 to $6,000 at auction. Contract variants push even higher. The P210 isn't just a collectible, it's proof of what happens when a military demands perfection over mass production. To own one is to hold Swiss watchmaking precision in the form of a pistol, a masterpiece that has only grown more desirable with time. Few pistols are as distinctive as the Mauser C96, nicknamed the broom handle for its unusual grip. First produced in 1896, it boasted a long barrel, fixed 10-round magazine, and unique profile that set it apart from every other handgun of its era. Chambered in 7.63 Mauser, it was powerful for its time and capable of ranges most pistols couldn't dream of. The C96 traveled the world, wielded in both world wars, carried by Chinese warlords, and even favored by a young Winston Churchill. Many came with wooden holsters, doubling as shoulder stocks, effectively creating a carbine before PCCs existed. Collectors chase variants like the rare Red 9 chambered in 9mm, with values from $2,500 to over $8,000. Pop culture cemented its fame when George Lucas turned it into Han Solo's blaster. To own a C96 is to hold a weapon that connects military history to cinematic legend, and demand keeps climbing. First produced in 1873, the Colt Single Action Army is the revolver that won the West. Chambered in .45 Colt, it became the sidearm of cowboys, soldiers, lawmen, and outlaws. Known as the Peacemaker, it settled disputes in dusty saloons and frontier towns across America. Carried by legends like Wyatt Earp and Wild Bill Hickok, its cultural mystique is unmatched. Built for reliability and balance, its smooth single-action trigger made it a favorite well beyond the frontier. Today, first-generation Colts are some of the most valuable firearms on Earth. Even ordinary examples in good condition fetch $15,000 to $20,000, while historically documented guns can soar past $500,000 at auction. To collectors, it isn't just a revolver. It's a piece of America's identity, a symbol of rugged independence and history you can hold in your hand. Owning one is owning the Old West itself. While gold has steadily climbed, some of these pistols have doubled or even tripled in value over the same period. History, culture, and scarcity are the forces behind this surge. Auction graphs show values spiking well beyond bullion prices. For investors and collectors alike, these firearms have become financial battlegrounds. The lesson is clear. While gold shines, steel with a story can shine brighter. Why are these pistols skyrocketing? 4 key factors drive the surge. Scarcity. Fewer examples survive every year, especially in pristine condition. Provenance. A pistol with wartime history or famous ownership multiplies in value. Pop culture influence. Appearances in films or iconic figures can send prices soaring. Condition. Original finish and matching numbers always command a premium over restored or altered guns. Together, these forces create a perfect storm where firearms aren't just weapons. They're appreciating assets. Tip 1. Always check condition and matching numbers. Originality separates a treasure from a shooter. Tip 2. Documentation is a value multiplier. Factory letters, wartime papers, or auction records can double or triple worth. Tip 3. Market trends change fast. Buy history, not hype. A pistol with a century of proven relevance will always outlast short-term speculation. Which of these pistols do you wish you had locked away in your safe? Comment below and let us know. Because every collector has a dream piece they would never trade. We want to hear which one on this list made you stop and think. That's the kind of engagement that keeps this community alive. As we close, remember that these 10 pistols are far more than firearms. They are history forged into steel, artifacts of war, law, and culture that have now become treasures rising in value faster than gold itself. If you happen to have one tucked away, you could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. This is Firepower, where we uncover the stories and the market moves that others overlook. Subscribe now for more collector spotlights, price breakdowns, and deep dives into the weapons shaping history and investment alike. Comment which pistol blew your mind the most and stay tuned because the next chapter is coming soon.